Let's talk about this now. So Europe is moving closer to all-out war with Russia and more sanctions, while the United States and Russia are pushing for peace and removing sanctions. It's a tale of two continents right now. And here's Ursula von der Leyen. Says, I welcome the agreement on our 16th package of sanctions. The EU is clamping down even harder on circumvention by targeting more vessels in Putin's shadow fleet and imposing new import and export bans. We are committed to keep up the pressure on the Kremlin.
Because that's been working so well?
Yeah, it's been working great. Look how you've destroyed Europe's economy, by the way, and the United States economy, by the way. President Trump even talked about inflation yesterday during that press conference, saying that because of this, we've had massive inflation. So it's going to end. Meanwhile, Putin this morning confirmed that the United States and Russia have now formalized relations once again. These relations were canceled, of course, under President Biden. Listen. He says we have taken the first step to resume work in the most diverse areas of mutual interest, including the Middle East and the broad sense of the word. And I mean our presence in Syria, the Palestinian-Israeli settlement, and so on. So basically, across the board, we're normalizing relations now with the United States. Like, what? This all happened in like 3 weeks? Okay. But then the gloves came off, of course. A short time ago, President Trump, this morning, called Ukrainian President Zelensky a dictator and said he has a 4% approval rating, which he said last night at that press conference, doubling down on it now. And he called out and he called out the entire Ukraine war as a massive deep state money laundering operation. Wow. What? Okay.
Truth. That's true.
But here's how the USAID-backed BBC News covered it. Watch.
President Trump, in the last few moments, has slammed Ukraine's President Zelensky as a dictator without elections. In the past few minutes, he has posted this on his Truth Social platform. Let me just take you through some of the detail. Quite a lengthy post, as you can see there. He says that President Zelensky refuses to have elections, is very low in Ukrainian polls. He's claiming that President Zelensky has about a 4% rating. Polls suggest it's 57%. He goes on, the only thing he was good at was playing Biden like a fiddle. He then calls President Zelensky a dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he is not going to have a country left. He goes on.
Yeah, so I love how she's like trying to fact check him in real time. She's like, we here at the BBC, or we know
don't believe that.
We know that the polls are 57%. That's what, according to polls, it's 57%. No one trusts the BBC anymore. Anyway, of course, the Liberals fired back saying it's not true. Zelensky, yes, has a 57% approval rating. Despite what Trump says, 4%. Even Zelensky himself talked about his high approval numbers. Watch.
If someone wants to replace me right now, I would say it won't happen right now. As we are talking about 4%, we have seen this disinformation. We understand it's coming from Russia. We understand that, and we have proof that these numbers are being discussed between America and Russia. So unfortunately, President Trump, who we respect a lot as a leader of the nation that we really respect, the American nation, who supported us all the time, unfortunately, he lives in this disinformation space.
Okay, so
the people
what's
love me
interesting
too, Clayton. You just should trust me when I say people love me.
Okay.
That's something that
I always do.
There's no bias there. You know, it's my own take on my approval ratings, and if anybody says they don't, it's disinformation.
So I did a little digging on this today. I wanted to, where are these 57% approval ratings coming from? Like, because liberals jumped all over this. Like, oh no, he's got a 57% approval rating. People love him in Ukraine. Really? Okay, so I did a little digging on this, and I posted this on X a short time ago. And it turns out that the Ukrainian organization that says Zelensky has a 57% approval rating is called the Kiev International Institute of Sociology. And guess what? It just so happens to be a partner of USAID, the United Nations, and the WHO. You can read it right on their website. So as a client, USAID pays the Kiev International Institute of Sociology. So you can definitely trust their 57% approval rating numbers, I'm sure. right? Maybe they are. Maybe they're the best approval rating numbers money can buy from USAID. Anyway, last night Trump set off a firestorm, saying that that Zelensky, in fact, started this war, and I couldn't believe he said the truth out loud. Watch.
But today I heard, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land, everything, almost all of the land, and no people would have been killed, and no city would have been demolished, and not one dome would have been knocked down. But they chose not to do it that way. And President Biden, in all fairness, he doesn't have a clue. What he was so bad for this. He was so bad, so pathetic. It's so sad.
Yes,
so
it's sad when you tank the peace deal that happened the second month of the war. Yeah, that's what the U.S. did.
So Zelensky didn't start the war. Ukraine started the war in 2014, of course, after the CIA-backed coup that led to the massive genocide in eastern Ukraine, killing ethnic Russians, kids on their way to school. That's what started this. And it seems to me that people don't know their history at all. It's amazing to see how ignorant American members of Congress, the neocons, who suddenly, they're all being outed about their ignorance about this. It's pretty remarkable to see. It's very simple to pick up a book, and you could see where this genocide started in 2014. Michael McFaul, here's a bunch of examples. Ukraine did not invade Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine. As an American, this is so embarrassing to all Ukrainians, especially the families who've lost loved ones due to Putin's barbaric invasion and terrorism. I apologize. Then another one, call to activism. Holy crap. Trump says Zelensky should never have started the war with Russia. Putin started the war by invading Ukraine. He's literally spreading Putin talking points from the podium. What a disgraceful a-hole. Here's Representative Don Bacon. Putin started this war. Putin committed war crimes. Putin is the dictator who murdered his opponents. The EU nations have contributed more to Ukraine. Zelensky polls well over 50%. Again, taking the propaganda. Ukraine wants to be a part of the West. Putin hates the West. I don't accept George Orwell's doublethink.
Okay.
Of course, none of that is true.
Well, it's true if you only joined the Earth in 2022.
Right. If you don't understand history, it's true to you. But even Jens Stoltenberg, the former head of NATO, let the cat out of the bag when he said this about 2014.
It didn't start in February last year. The war started in 2014. And since 2014, NATO allies have provided support to Ukraine with training, with equipment.
Oh, okay. Where was the outrage from liberals then? I can't believe he's spreading Putin talking points from the NATO podium, but they didn't. Today's show is brought to you by Native Hydrate. Now, most people know that staying hydrated is essential to nearly every bodily function, but 75% of Americans still don't consume enough fluid daily. They wonder why they get headaches and they feel tired. As we age, natural bodily changes make staying hydrated even harder, especially without artificial additives or excess sugars. That's where Native Path comes in with extra help. Native Path's Hydrate is not just another drink mix. It's a thoughtfully designed formula packed with BCAAs and all 9 essential amino acids to help with muscle recovery and overall vitality. Plus, it's completely sugar-free and 100% natural. With their Native Hydrate product, you can fuel your body with essential electrolytes at the cellular level for overall vitality. Unlike other hydration drink mixes that are designed for marathon runners and contain upwards of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, Native Hydrate contains just 230 milligrams of sodium for optimal daily hydration. So check them out today. You can try it right now, risk-free. Visit nativehydrate.com/redacted to see what Native Hydrate could do for your health. They have a 365-day money-back guarantee. Try it today, risk-free. Again, nativehydrate.com/redacted.
Well, we're learning a lot more about the company responsible for the plane crash in Toronto that flipped upside down, mercifully not killing anybody, but injuring dozens of people. This was a Delta flight that was operated by a regional operator called Endeavour Airlines. So we are owed answers to, what does Endeavour Airlines prioritize? Do they do quite a bit of safety? Do they hire the best pilots around? Turns out their website tells us they do not. If we take a look at their website, it says that their main goal is to promote diversity and inclusion in all aspects of the operation. So I ask you, does it bother you when you survive a plane because the pilot was chosen as the best? That must be really bothersome, right? Is that colonialism that you cannot abide? It turns out that, again, their most important mission was diversity. They love to promote the fact that their flights have no men. So they do not care about the best. They care about the skin color and the gender. Here's from their own official Twitter page saying that they're so happy that so many of their flights are unmanned. And they also had this TikTok where they prided themselves on hiring only female pilots. And so
leaving the men behind, they say,
right.
Oh, no men on this flight. I don't think so. Unmanned.
So again, this is not to say that this is the thing that caused the crash, but we should get answers for how do you hire? Have you left out better qualified pilots? And this is the result. What are the training requirements? Have you, like other corporations during the Biden era, dropped requirements in order to bring more people in to the detriment of your passengers? Babylon Bee made this joke, which was kind of funny. It says, Delta adds a little hanging tennis ball at the end of the runway for female pilots to get them to learn when to stop. Yeah, that's funny. Okay,
that is funny because, in fact, in our own garage, you asked me to hang a tennis ball from the ceiling because you kept hitting the area.
We have a stairway that goes into only my side of the garage, so he can go in willy-nilly, but I have to inch right up to it or else the garage will not close on my, so in my defense. You have
to hit the stairwell, so she's like, can you hang a little tennis ball?
Do you want to switch sides of the garage? I would happily do that.
My truck is too big. It won't fit there.
I bet it would. We can try later.
We'll try
you're
later.
Poking fun at me.
Yeah, I am. But I've heard from military experts who've said that females are actually the best helicopter pilots in the world. Their reaction times are better than males when it comes to helicopter piloting. That doesn't mean that we're excluding all males from piloting helicopters. We're selecting the best of the best. That doesn't mean like every female has a proclivity for flying helicopters.
I probably do not.
Exactly.
While we're on the subject.
If you're like me and you're getting to that age where everything starts to hurt on a regular basis, well, then listen up. Don't reach for another painkiller until you learn a little about this little-known turmeric hack for pain and inflammation. You've probably already heard about turmeric being used to fight inflammation and joint pain. But here's the thing, not all turmeric is created equal. Regular turmeric powder in your pantry might help just a little bit, but a leading pain doctor from Connecticut discovered a special turmeric extract that is 200 times more powerful than what you'd find in standard turmeric. And when he shared his turmeric hack with his patients, the results were shocking. This turmeric extract attacks pain at the source, turning it off like a light switch, so that pain not only goes away, but it stays away. Dr. Josh is the brains behind it all. He spent over 20 years helping hundreds of thousands of Americans finally break free from constant aches and stiffness. And his turmeric hack has been the backbone of their success. So say goodbye to expensive surgeries, pain injections, or ineffective over-the-counter medications, and say hello to pain-free living. This is incredible stuff, guys. Once I started taking it regularly, I really noticed a difference. No more lower back pain, no more neck pain. You can't just take any old turmeric. So if you want to learn more about Dr. Josh and his turmeric hack and the exact method for how to use it in your daily routine, just go to goldenrevive.com/redacted. That's goldenrevive.com/redacted. The link is right below in this video description. Just click it and start your journey towards a pain-free, healthier life. Well, will the U.S. pull all COVID vaccines from the market now that we know and are allowed to know several things about the COVID vaccines? They actually don't prevent infection. People who are healthy don't need them. And, of course, concerns about the efficacy and harm that they may cause. Here's what Representative Thomas Massie had to say about it today. Revoke FDA approval of the COVID shots now, he said. The process for approving them was corrupted by political pressure, according to two witnesses I deposed who are in charge of vaccine approval at the FDA. Emails show scientists were pressured to approve them so they could be mandated. I'd love to see that. That would be shocking, right? This comes after Pfizer CEO Alfred Bourla, the veterinarian, said that if the vaccines weren't safe and effective, they never would have received FDA approval.
Albert, it's great to have you on. Thanks for being with us. I realize it's only one piece of a broader portfolio, but it is the piece that continues to get outsized attention, and that is your vaccine portfolio. Vaccine makers like yourself, largely shielded from liability. If the products are safe and effective, what is the need to continue to shield to have these liability shields? And what happens if those shields are changed or go away completely?
If the product is not safe and effective, we'll never get approval from FDA or from the other health authorities. They are very strict when they are approving products, particularly for vaccines, because exactly is given to healthy people. However, in a system that litigations can flourish, anyone can create a demand that the accident in the car happened because of a vaccine. And with a jury, it's going to be maybe a flip of a coin. And this is, I think, why the Congress, it was not an administration, had passed this legislation that is protecting those that they have approval from the FDA from further liabilities.
So these things were given emergency use authorization, right? And that's the only way they were pushed through. Why hasn't that been removed? What's the emergency right now? They still don't have full approval.
They do not.
So emergency approval that may have been fraudulent, especially if these whistleblower emails are correct and Thomas Massie is correct. Congressman Massie is not known to lie. It could have been that the FDA was pressured by the government to approve the vaccine. A reminder that would have been the Trump government, of course, under Operation Warp Speed, which has been a huge criticism of us here on this show about Trump and his sort of blind spot for Operation Warp Speed. But if the Trump administration is now about to ban these shots, that's a positive move, maybe admitting, hey, we screwed up here. Now, the same people who push the vaccines are saying, well, that was a messaging error. Watch former White House health advisor Deborah Birx say this. She's trending for saying the same thing on Piers Morgan's show, but this one is a bit shorter, so watch this.
And what we've done wrong in public health is we didn't explain that COVID vaccines were nothing like the childhood vaccines, and that the childhood vaccines, like many of the diseases, you get it once, you don't get it again, and this is getting the children to have that disease without getting the deadly consequences. That is not what the COVID vaccine was designed to do. It wasn't designed to prevent against infection.
Oh, no.
What?
Why did we get that then?
What?
What exactly do you do here? What is it you
It was designed to prevent infection. Oh, really? Then what was it designed to do?
And we only figured that out ourselves by reading Pfizer's clinical trials and showing that they only marked efficacy if someone had fewer sneezes and sniffles and coughs. They did not test for infection. I remind you, we got a YouTube strike for saying that in 2021. So we were on our own because you fools didn't tell us the truth.